Today on the show, strategy plus action equals a performance mindset and a plan for killing your ducks. This show is powered by Black Ginger. If you'd like to shorten your sales cycle and build a foundation that makes all of your other sales and marketing initiatives better, reach out to us on LinkedIn. John Logar is a legendary consultant, coach, and agency owner responsible for the success of many of the top consultants and marketers working today. John has built a massive network of some of the most accomplished business owners and thought leaders around, and he's done that by showing up and bringing useful tactical value wherever he goes. You see, besides the multi-million-dollar agency he's built, along with his thriving coaching and consulting business, I know the heart that John has. I've seen it firsthand, the deep caring and commitment he has to members of his consulting rocket program, for instance, or his in-person trainings, and even his one-on-one sessions. It's one thing to have all the answers for people you work with, but it's much more impactful when you care enough to make sure they succeed. We're honored to have him here. John Logar, welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. Almost brought a tear to my eye on that one, but I appreciate the introduction, so thank you.
Of course. So glad you're here.
John, man, it's absolutely amazing to have you on. I know we met a few years ago in Dallas, and that was one of the most impactful, 2 or 3 hours of my life just watching you speak. So thank you again for being on. Just super excited. We want to jump right in and ask you what's going on in your world. What are you working on? What value is John Logar creating right now?
Well, right now, because we've got this crazy time in our lives of a pandemic that's hitting the globe, I actually should be over there in the United States, but I'm actually stuck in Australia. I can't actually leave my country or this country for at least another 12 months. So not a bad place to be stuck in. But I guess when I saw the inklings or the early stages of this going on, I knew that this was also an opportunity brewing. So I got to work, right? For me, I realized that in these times when you have some of these big challenges, one of the things that occurred, one of the things I realized very quickly, a lot of businesses are very vulnerable, right? And the pandemic has exacerbated or actually shown where businesses have been vulnerable. Whole industries have been impacted by what's going on right now, like the airline industry, the travel industry. All those industries have been, the hospitality industry, the restaurant industry, and manufacturing. All those areas have been impacted by what's going on. So what I realized very quickly is we're coming through, and this happened back in the 1990s in the United States. There was the US military had an acronym called VUCA, and VUCA stood for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. And what happened in 1990, 1989 was the Berlin Wall came down and Russia disseminated into separate states. Communism came undone, and America was looking for a new enemy, right? Because America was going, hey, we've had the Cold War for the last 40 years. Who we got to look out for now, right? We very, very quickly, the world became a very dangerous place when that actually occurred. However, we are in times of vulnerability right now. We have uncertainty, a lot of uncertainty. We have complexity, lots of complex issues to be solved right now, socially, politically, from a health point of view, all sorts of things. And the fourth thing of ambiguity, no clarity, no understanding of the path moving forward, lots of distractions, lots of misinformation, lots of fear that's going on. I've been here before. It's not like the first time that the world has been in a retraction, right? And history repeats itself. Only this one's a little bit different. So you ask me what I started working on. I started working on kind of a different acronym, right? We need clarity right now. We need assurance right now. We need leadership right now, and we need movement. We need movement, right? And so that means working on the things that you can control rather than working on the things you can't control. So what I did was I went out to the market and said, hey, you need to do some really simple things right now. You're in business. If you're in business, it means you need to look at a way. If you can't do it in your traditional way, you need to look at another way of acquiring your customers. You need the cash flow coming in, right? The second thing you need to do is if you didn't build a tribe, and this is a vulnerability, you need to get engaged with a customer group, with a tribe, right? If you didn't build a database and you weren't marketing online effectively and you weren't capturing your leads and you weren't following them up, you've got a problem, right? So you need to look at who can you serve, people who are already your clients, people who were clients, and people who are in your list. Number three. Sorry, that was number two. Number three, if you don't have an offer right now in the market, then how can a customer buy? So if you don't make yourself visible right now, and right now we've just discovered with the most powerful computer on the planet, which is this device here, right? We've discovered that a lot of people are spending a lot of time on this device. And if we don't have a strategy to manage this communication or engage our customers in this communication, then we have a problem, Houston, right? So I sort of reached out to a lot of agencies because in the agency market, one of the first things that goes is marketing dollars. So as soon as a problem occurs, clients go, hey, we have to reduce our expenses, so we have to cut our advertising costs, we're going to pull out of the market, and all of a sudden a whole bunch of ad agencies went broke, literally overnight, right? In fact, there were several agencies just in the United States that go, oh, we're losing customers hand over fist, right? Because what happens? The market panics, right? So I realized, I knew this, and I have a few friends say, hey, this is an opportunity. All these people that are dropping out of the market are opening up the gap for you to take over their clients. So I'd be calling all the clients of that agency and say, hey, look, the agency you work with is gone, but we're still here. You still need to market. You still need to go to the market. You're not shutting down. You need to educate your clients. You need to make an offer to your clients. You need to use the platforms. Let's help you out. And so slowly, we've actually seen a lot of the people that I work with grow. We've had 40, 50% growth rates in the middle of pandemic in the marketing world, unheard of, right? Because you focus on, like, people still need to advertise. I was talking to a client of mine. They opened up 45 new ad accounts this month that's just gone. They're having a record month in their agency, 45 brand new ad accounts. 25 of those ad accounts were people who had never advertised before, but they realized that they need to advertise. So what I got working on keeping it simple, making sure that my doors are open, making sure the people I work with and their doors are open, and making sure they're focusing on doing the right thing by their business, and that is to be open to accepting clients, to be open to helping clients, and also to perhaps recalibrate their message to the market, because right now there's a little bit of panic going on. There's a little bit of social distancing. We need to do things differently. The Zooms, the Skypes have become very powerful as a communication tool. We don't have to hop in a car. We don't have to drive anywhere. I'm here in a place called Currumbin on the east coast of Australia, down by the ocean. It's very pretty, little rainforest out in front of me. But we are 14,000 miles apart from each other, and here we are in real time having this conversation. As our prospective businesses can be in real time having this conversation. So there's a few things that have occurred where our efficiencies or our effectiveness has improved if we've been able to utilize the technology. So what have I been working on? Trying to get people to get focused on generating opportunities, generating clients, closing deals, getting pragmatic and practical, because right now we are in the bottom three of the Maslow hierarchy of needs. Right now, our personal safety, very important to us right now. Very old values, safety first, right? Personal safety, right? Second, right? Security, right? Our jobs, our businesses, our livelihoods, our mortgages, our finances, our security, really important right now, right? And the third level is that belonging and connection. And that's what's being tested right now on two levels. One, with social distancing, we're isolating. Right now, we're self-isolating and we're operating off a computer or a laptop or an iPhone or an iPad, right? So we're distancing ourselves. The world is not meant to be alone. We are not independent individual animals, right? Our instincts are to connect and collaborate, right? To actually hang around. So community and belonging is that third rung on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Self-esteem, unimportant right now. Self-actualization, unimportant right now. So if you're selling dreams to people, this is the wrong time selling dreams, right? People need pragmatic, practical result, right? This is going to help me right now. What's the impact of my decision? How can I move forward? That's what we need right now. We need simple, practical, pragmatic. We need clarity. We need assurance. We need to lead, and we need to move. Because if we don't move, fear lives in stagnant water. As a friend of mine says, fear lives in stagnant water. If we aren't moving, we're dying. We're dead, right? So that might be a very long answer to your question.
It's a fantastic one, though. It's perfect, and I think it's the perfect answer to what we're talking about today, which is something that you, in any kind of time, you preach and hammer home and slap people in the face with, is, one of your favorite things is killing your ducks, right? Like, stop worrying about getting all your ducks in a row, everything just right, and then going. And just like so many other things that we've been forced into, whether it's, only doing a show like this, right, instead of face to face, or so many other things, you're kind of forced to, okay, well, now, how I told you to take action quickly and figure stuff out? Well, now if you don't do it, you're dead tomorrow. Your business goes under.
You're either going to go to employment, or you got to find a job. If you're in business or you're a business owner, be in business. And being in business means actively engaging people that you can serve and help. And if you're actively engaging people you can serve and help with an offer that is relevant to them, then those people go, yep, you're the person I need to buy from. You're the person with the voice. Right now, we have no choice as business owners. If we are not advertising, we don't exist. If we are not engaging the market, we don't exist. If we don't exist, they're not going to buy from us. They're going to buy from somebody else who does exist, who is visible, who is making a difference and making an offer. Right, I got my hands on Bain & Co.'s and McKinsey & Co.'s crisis management deck for their elite clients. I was fortunate enough with a few friends, because I came from that world, to get my hands on the current crisis management deck. 75% of that deck is dedicated towards outwardly marketing and generating opportunities. 75% of their advice is not to shut down, pull back. They're saying, yes, sell the shit that doesn't work, get rid of the assets that don't work, get rid of the things that aren't productive and aren't profitable, sell that off or move that on or remove that obstacle, bring the revenue or the cash flow from that and double down on your marketing. We've just come through the last 12 years of the most incredible financial growth and prosperity in the history of mankind. In the last 12 years, we've had more billionaires appear on our radar, more than ever before in the history of mankind. We have more millionaires that have become millionaires in the last 12 years. We've had companies that came from nowhere in 8 years, Amazon, Apple. We look at, Uber was another one, although they're having issues with what's going on. But we look at all the brands that came through in the last 12 years. They became household names, and they've become the biggest companies on the planet in the last 12 years. There's a lot of cash and money out there. Even though 36 million people are unemployed in the United States, right? There are still 300 million people in the United States that are employed, right? That are actually functioning at some level, right? So that, yes, is it unprecedented times? Absolutely. Will there be new opportunities? Absolutely. Right now, yes. And the innovators and the creators and the solopreneurs and the entrepreneurs are the ones that are going to change the world. They're going to be the new Ubers and the new Amazons and the new Apples. There's new stuff coming, right? With the invent of 3D printing, products of speed to market. I go to CES every year, the Consumer Electronics Show. When I started, like 8 years ago, when I first went to that show, the companies would say, yes, here's a product that we're going to release in 9 months' time. Like, you get to see the future, right? Now, 8 years later, this year, go to CES, Las Vegas, before all this pandemic, and I'm sitting there talking to a company that's in the health tech space, right? The biotech health tech space. And they're sitting and say, yeah, this product's available on our shelves tomorrow, right? We went from now releasing in 9 months to, well, yeah, this new tech, it's available now. You can buy it right now. You can buy it here. You can buy it there. It's available now. So speed to market, the compression of speed is having a huge impact on innovation, technology, creativity. Everything is moving, right? We in scary times? Yes, we are. And there are a lot of scary people in this world that are making it very scary. But at the end of the day, you control your environment. You can only do what you can do. What you focus on most becomes the reality. You want to focus on all the rubbish that's going on, social injustice, all that sort of stuff, then that's fine. That's your thing and that's important to you. Then the reality of that is what you're going to receive. If that's what you want and that's important to you, then accept the consequences of the thing that you desire. If you want to grow and you want to have an impact and you want to help people out, then that's what you focus on. That's what's going to happen. You're going to grow, you have an impact, and you're going to do something, right? So this is the thing. And most people, our brains are not wired for technology. Our brains are not wired for technology because remember, we are primitive people, fight or flight response. That's our evolution, right? And so thinking about our psychology and anthropology and sociology, technology comes in the last 50 years and has literally changed the universe. 50 years, there's a guy called Kurt Vonnegut. He wrote a book called Play a Piano. It's one of my favorite books. And in that book, he wrote that book back in 1976, right? So it was a long time ago, right? So he wrote that book in 1976. We're 2020, so it's only 50 years, right? So in that book, he was describing microwaves and jets that were going to, the scramjets, and freaking the fact that we're going to have space stations. He was writing all these things back in 1976 that didn't even exist. The washing machine in its current format did not exist. He was describing the future in a book. He had no idea of his foresight, but the fact is that what we can conceive in our mind is a possibility, right? Whatever we conceive is a possibility, right? That's the key here. If you can dream it up in here, right, you've created a frame of reference from your experience or from your exposure to an idea. That's where that comes from, right? So your mind's a pretty powerful and amazing thing. It works at 1 billion impulses per microsecond, right? At 1 billion impulses per microsecond, there's a pretty freaking powerful computer, right? So whatever is this thing can dream up, it means it's possible. Otherwise, it couldn't dream it up, right?
And I think that's such an important concept for people to just get reminded of too, because we get so locked into the technology, into the tools, into the, okay, well, here's what I do. What can I do with this? Well, stop. Go higher. Go into, hey, even if it doesn't exist yet, what do I want? And that works in business, that works in life, that works in relationship. Like, what do I want? And just like you're saying, then all of a sudden there's more opportunity to do that, right? What I want in life, and I'll experience it more.
We are multi-sensory human beings that require a multi-faceted way of living lives, right? We have our spirituality, we have our friends, family, associates, the relationships, we have our health, we have the finances, the impact, we have the work that we do, we have all those sorts of things that we are part of as part of our life, right? And so, but it kind of boils back to, what's really important to you, right? Like, you come into this world on your own and you go out of this on your own, and it's you, right? So how you choose to live that, how you learn to experience that, how you grow, what you do to nourish yourself along the way, that's the reflection of the life that you live. And so is it busy and crazy and up and down? And, yes, for everybody. It is, because that's human nature, right? Well, that's not human nature. That's just humanity, right? So, we're in the world of where you've got the word title, strategy and action, right? What's your strategy when it comes to your business? What's your strategy when it comes to your health? What's your strategy when it comes to your, and then from that, you're going to pick the important bits. And the way to make decisions is the ones that are really important are the ones that really matter. That's the ones that you're going to predicate to that decision, right? So if you say, hey, I want to grow this business, well, okay, Gary, what business are you in? Who does it serve, right? The purpose of your business is to actually give people, to serve, to add value to other people's lives, right? That's the purpose of any business. The purpose of a product is it delivers an enhancement for somebody who uses that product. That is the purpose of that product. The goal of your business is to generate as much profit as you can out of what you deliver, right? So purpose first, then the goal. The goal is the money, right? Most people go the other way around. They go, hey, I'd like you to buy my product because I want to make some profit, please, right? Can you please buy financial services because I need to make some profit now? Can we do that? No, it doesn't work, right? If we lead with profit, it ain't going to work. We've got to lead with what we're doing to add value. What impact does that? The bigger the impact, the greater the value proposition is, right? So that's another thing that people don't understand, right? They get this thing like they undervalue what they do. They don't understand what they do in a lot of cases because they're new. They just got a whole bunch of questions, right? But business is kind of a really simple thing. What is it that you do? Who does that help? And how do they know that this is the thing that they want from you as opposed to going somewhere else and finding it somewhere else? Very basic, right?
And the answer that you want to get, you give so often to that is then talk to those people. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's the other the missing piece.
Yeah. You get to know the people, you get to understand the problem, or you get to understand. So we buy for two motivators, right? We buy for pleasure because we like pleasure, right? We love to be pleasured, right? And on the other side, we buy because we want to avoid some pain, right? The reason why we hire the guy to wash our car is because we don't want to wash our car. We get him to wash the car, right? We value our time. We're paying that guy $25 an hour to wash my car because I'm worth more than $25 and I want to do something else other than wash my car. Right? We pay the local kid down the street to mow our lawns because it's better for me to pay him to mow the lawns. He'll probably do it better than I can because he's been doing it all the time. But, I got better things to do. So there's a value proposition, right? So we either buy for pleasure or we buy to avoid pain. What is the pleasure and the pain? What is the cost? If something costs us, we want to reduce that cost, right? So that we can, time and money are two very important things. And time, probably most important things. Right, our time is way valuable. Right, money is a construct. Right, it's a function of an exchange of value. Right now we don't even need money anymore. We can't because our money's got germs on it. So now what are we doing? Right, we're tapping. We're not. I don't even need to tap. I just need to sit there with my Apple Watch like a couple of centimeters away and just go, and it's done. A 1 and 0 has been transacted over the interwebs, and I don't actually even see the folding stuff. So right now, I don't even know the value of that folding stuff. All it is a number in the bank account, right? So even our minds are changing in the way that we are exchanging revenue and value, right?
Even Jason and I think a lot of what we spent time during the quarantine, I'm actually in Spain, and so we were locked down for 60 days, but real lockdown. We couldn't leave the house. I have a dog. We were able to go outside for 12 minutes a day to take the dog out twice. So that was crazy. But
that's
all
insane.
All I saw was just, hey, this is the slowest the world has ever been. It's time to get creative with my business. It's time to look for problems to solve. And so, now that we're moving out of that, but that mindset has changed a bit. What are you suggesting that business owners focus on? Even in my agency, we've started to run ads again. A lot of people have come back that fell off, but they're back with a different mindset, and they're so focused on what went wrong. And so now, what are you suggesting that these business owners, service-based, small business owners, focus on at this moment for their own business?
You've got to let customers know that you're open for business. That's the number one thing. So the big thing is how you so there are 5 core functions of your business, right? Number one core function is that you've got to be consistently generating leads. You've always got to be bringing in new opportunities, right? Number 2, you've got to nurture those leads into your process of sales, nurture them into engaging, getting the sales process. Number 3, your conversion, how you convert those clients into a sale. That's the third element of your business. Number 4, your deliverability. You want to deliver great to outstanding results. Anything under that doesn't cut it, right? So you want to deliver great to outstanding result, delivery. And number 5 is you want to retain and resell and upsell your existing clients. So those are the 5 core functions of any business on the planet. Agency, doctor, plumber, garbage man, right? Garbage collection company. What do you need? You need to generate leads and opportunities. You need to nurture those leads into a customer opportunity. You need to help those people buy. You need to make sure you deliver a great to outstanding result. And you want to make sure you retain that customer. You want to resell that customer, and you want to upsell that customer to grow your business. That's it, 5 core functions. But right now, remember I said Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Safety, right? Security, and then belonging, right? So what do we need to do? We need to get out there. We need to hustle, right? We're in the work mode, and we need to connect. The belonging phase, all businesses that are in safety and security, got to protect my cash flow, got to protect my employees, got to keep this business going, got to manage this process, readjust my finances, want to keep the doors open, right? So the big question is, are you motivated to grow? If you are motivated to grow, that's different from being motivated to stay open, right? Motivated to survive, very different from motivated to grow. If you're motivated to survive, you'll be out of business in the next 6 to 12 months. You'll be gone, right? Because the gap is widening right now. So we need to be in the first 3 aspects of our business. We need to be in the lead generation, the lead nurture, and sales conversion, our sales process. So what do we need to do as owners? We need to offer. And the only thing is that from an agency point of view, as I was talking to agency, anybody operating a service business right now, if you have to, if the way you sell is via appointment, or you're making an offer, direct offer where somebody buys something from you online, right? Well, the question is, how often does that happen right now per week? How often does that happen per month? How often? Because if you go without making appointments, you don't make sales. So the number one priority is, who are you talking to? And what's your sales process, right? How do you help people right now? In agency, they run a very convoluted model in agency. The convoluted model is somebody's interested in some advertising, right? Oh, okay. Let me show you. Let me offer you a free strategy session. Let me show you. Let me talk about how we can help you with advertising. So then you do a free strategy session. Well, the free strategy session is not really a strategy session. It's a discovery call. Let me ask you a whole bunch of questions about your business, what you do, what your price points are, and then I'll tell you a little bit about Facebook or AdWords or what we do and how it works. Great. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go away and put a proposal together. And that proposal is going to have what we do, how we work together, and the price, right? And so then we send the proposal. So we go away, spend 3 hours of our life or 4 hours of life putting the proposal together. We send the proposal to the person, right? And then we go, now if we're smart, we've presented the proposal. We didn't send it to them. If we're smart, we presented it in person. If we're not smart, we've emailed it to them, hoping that they've opened the email, right? And then what happens with the proposal is they go through, like you, they'll scroll through that and they go to the last page. They go right to the last. They don't go to the bit like, this is how cool we are, this is how we're going to work together, this is how we solve your problem, this is the value proposition. They don't read any of that. They just go, scroll, last page. Ooh, judgment call on value, on price. The price alone, not, hey, we're running ad campaigns to improve our predictable opportunity of 20 to 30% growth in sales every single month with new leads. No, how much is it going to cost us? So now in the proposal phase, it all becomes about the price. And then what happens is they ghost you. You call them up and they, hey, I'm busy right now. Can we do this next week? And then you call next week and then they call, hey, look, I'm super busy. And then you call them and they don't answer. They don't answer your emails. They don't answer your phone. They don't answer anything. They're gone. It's like I left the planet. I'm sorry. We had to pack up and go. We don't exist anymore, right? This is the standard sales process that most people follow in their business. You get it?
Yep.
This is the standard operating procedure of most people in their business, right? And what they do. Now, this is all wrong because think about it. 10 prospects, 30 hours of running proposals, no sales. 30 hours of your life, or actually more, because if you're doing 10 prospects, it's roughly, you're going to spend between 4 hours, including discovery, and 7 hours per person. So 40 to 70 hours to speak to 10 people to make an offer with no result, right? Old school. That's insanity. That's insanity. And the
Plus
reason why
the
insanity
mental... Sorry to interrupt, John, but just that, plus that mental toll that how much of your brain and attention and focus is on, I wonder if they've opened it yet. I wonder if they're going to call back. I wonder if they're going to do this. Maybe I should have said something else.
And life that you can't get back, those hours are gone forever, just like the deal, just like the opportunity.
Absolutely. You've lost that time. That time is absolutely valuable to you, right? That time is absolutely valuable to you. So what if we actually flip this on its head and actually got valued for our time and we only spoke to people who are actually ready to buy? That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? Like imagine you are the only person you're talking to is somebody who's sitting there saying, hey, we need some help. And I know that you can help me. Can we get this done? Right? That would be a very different conversation, right? So imagine being able to do that every single time. No more proposals, no more wasting time. You're actually having a conversation with real people who value your time, who want to work with you, right? Because you're showing them how you can help. And at the end of the day, you're going to work with each other on a project to get it done. That would be the ultimate scenario, yeah? So we've got to go back to right at the very beginning of how we set that situation up, right? So first of all, how do we get the interest of this person? Did we do an ad and they came to a lead magnet and came to our agency? Did we send an email out and they responded to the email? Were they referred to us by a friend or an associate? Or they saw a blog post or a video we posted 3 years ago and they thought, hey, I'll give this guy a call. How did they come to us? Why are they here? How are they coming to us, right? So once we understand where they're coming to us, and they're coming to us and they've decided to make an appointment, right? The last thing we want to do is sell strategy, right? A strategy session. The last thing we want to do is give away free time. What we want to do is we want to establish how important what it is that they're interested in is to get done first, right? So we want to sit there and say, great, why are you here? Why are you interested in this thing? Why are you interested in Facebook? Why AdWords? Why is this important now? Like, something you want to do in a month's time, 2 months' time, 3 months' time, or you need to do something about it right now? No, we need to do something about it right now. Okay, great. Why me? Why'd you come across me? Well, I saw your video, saw your ad, saw your email, looked very professional. So it sells themselves on why they're talking to you, the expert, right? Okay, why me? Okay, so what's the objective here? Why you do what are you actually looking for out of this? And most people don't know the answer to that question. They think the broad answer to that question is we want to make more, we need more leads. We want to make more sales. That's the broad answer, right? That's why I need to do this. Like, we're not getting enough, right? So my next question is, okay, great. So you're not getting enough. Or what does that mean? What does that look like? Well, what's not enough, right? We need to ask more questions about what this is so that we understand the true motivation behind why they even bothered to spend this time with you, right? So once we get that established, we understand a little bit and go, hey, well, this is why, look, we just need to get this done. We need somebody who can help us. You look like you can help us. We just want to know what needs to happen to make this work. Great. So you need to do this right now. You want to get a better result or a different result than what you've been getting or getting in the past. You want to add to this business because you want to build, and you're kind of motivated to grow. So my question around the motivation thing is, are you motivated to grow this business, this asset that you're building, or are you just going through the motions because you just need cash, right? Now, that's a very interesting question, because if you're motivated to grow, then you're motivated for now and the future. If you're motivated just for cash, you're motivated for now, and that's it. There's no future. Right? So I just want the quick win, quick results. Well, what happens when the quick result stops? What happens after that? Well, we want another quick result, right? So things don't work that way. So my question to people, how motivated are you to grow this thing? Are you really serious about doing this? Yes, we are, right? So the next step in the process is say, listen, a plane needs two things a pilot needs two pieces of information to be able to correctly fly and successfully land his plane at wherever he's going. And the first thing he needs to understand is not the destination. The very first thing he needs to understand is where he's flying from. Because he can't map out the trajectory of where he's going to unless he understands where he's starting from. So we need to understand where you're starting from right now and actually map out a plan to hit the objective and the outcome that you want to map out to. So to do that, we're going to charge you for some of our time. The very first part of this process is we want to spend, in our discovery, right, we want to map this out so that you get the ultimate result, which is a better effective and a strong outcome that you can realize with the ROI. That makes sense, doesn't it? So the first thing we need to do is we need to do strategy. And strategy cost pesos, right? They cost Swiss francs, they cost American dollars, they cost dinero, the euro, it costs money. So we charge for our time. That discovery call that we're going to spend an hour and a half our time discovering their life, now we're going to charge for that. Because here's the thing. When you say to people, look, here's how we work together. First of all, we need to discuss devising a plan. That plan requires strategy. We're going to spend some time asking all the questions, doing the audits we need to do, getting very clear about the objective, the brief, the scope, and the outcome. And more importantly, we're going to have this plan. And this plan is going to get you to that trajectory of what you say that you ultimately want. That makes sense, doesn't it? They go, yes. Well, your investment in this plan is whatever you want it to be. We've got people who are selling it for $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 up front. Paid on spot. Yep, makes a lot of sense, right? So we always start with strategy. By the way, for those of you in the consulting and marketing game, that's a product, right? Yep. That's an immediate product you sell is your time.
Exactly.
Right?
How much do you spend for that, have you found as a selling point to kind of that first part of what a pilot needs, right? Where they are right now. How much do you spend in that in terms of like, hey, we're also going to give you this real life assessment of where you are now, plus how to get you over there.
Yeah. That's in your discovery. So, my question is, what questions you need to ask about what the problem you need to solve. So you need to understand, what's going on in their business first, and you need to understand where they're going, what they're doing, what's working, what's not working, what has worked in the past, what hasn't worked in the past. You say you want to do Facebook ads, but you've tried Facebook ads before and they didn't work, but here we are again. You want to give this a shot, so you know that Facebook must work. It just hasn't worked for you, yeah? So tell me about why it didn't work last time. What happened, right? And now they'll say, well, the agency we had was a bum agency. Okay, well, let's unpack that for a little bit. Did they send you leads? Yeah, we got leads, but the leads sucked. Okay, great. So I just want to understand your sales process. When a lead comes to you and picks up the phone and calls you, or do you pick up the phone and you call them? Or was the strategy that they fill out a form or fill in an appointment thing and they just didn't show up to the appointment? What happened, right? No, they call us, but the people on the other end of the phone were sucky. Or why were they sucky? right? Well, they were just asking for the price. They didn't, half the time, half the people we called back never responded. Okay, well, they weren't there. When did you call them back? Did you call them back within the first 5 minutes of them inquiring, or did you call them back
Right.
2 days later? I would call them back 2 or 3 days later. So what you have here is you didn't have an ineffective Facebook ad agency. What you had was an ineffective sales process. You didn't manage you didn't have a process to manage the leads effectively to be able to maximize the opportunity. Is why you bought the leads in the first place, to make sales, right? And if you treat people like a tire kicker, then they will be, right? They will be a tire kicker. If you automatically say all these leads suck, well, yes, all the leads will suck, and you'll treat them like sucky leads. And I don't know about you, but if I treat you like a sucky lead, you're not going to be too happy. You're not going to spend any money with me. You're going to go somewhere else, are you not? Because the reason why they called you in the first place is because they were interested. The job that you had that wasn't completed was you didn't help them. So that's why we need to sit down and think about, if we're going to run an ad campaign, we want to make sure that you're aware of what happens at the other end of that ad campaign. And if we do that, we're going to maximize conversions. You're going to get a lot more sales. You're going to make a lot more money. That's what you want, isn't it? Yes. Does that make sense? Oh, absolutely. I see where we messed up last time. Great. So it wasn't necessarily the ad agency. It's just that you had the wrong strategy. So what we want to do, make sure, is we have the right strategy and not repeat this. So can we build the right strategy? Yes, let's build that, right? So great. So now in answering your question, Jason, what we're really doing is we're kind of unpacking why they really want to do this and why they want to get it right, or how they want to get that right. And so what we're serving here, right? We in fact, in this process, you're actually almost acting as if the person is an actual client. And if they paid you money in discovery, they are. If they pay you any money, if they pay you $100 for a discovery session, they are now a paying customer. And they are more likely to pay you more money because they've had the experience of you in that moment to help them to reach an objective. 100% conversion rate to sell the bigger package. Much easier.
If they can get
because
that,
they've already committed. Yeah.
And if they can get that aha
right?
from you, they're not going to run off now and go find someone to do their ads or whatever it is that you offer.
They've connected you. They've poured their heart and soul out to you. They've given you everything. It's like, yeah, oh, thanks for all that. I'm going to go somewhere else. No, you're the guy. You know what we're all about. I want to work with you. You're smarter than the average cat. Right? So understand, or you know more about me and the problem than I do because you walk through the process, right? So this is the process, right? So at the end of that, we're going to say, listen, we're going to put a plan in place. It's your plan. The key thing we need to be very clear about is your objective, what we want to do. The next thing we need to be super clear about is why you want to do this. Why is it important? Do you want to scale, hire a team, build more systems, create more manufacturing, open up new locations, buy the jet ski, take the family away on the European vacation, buy that Ferrari you've been dreaming about for 25 years that you're never going to buy? What is it? Why do you want to do this? Because growing for the sake of growing means nothing. Nothing's going to happen. So why? Let's get super clear as to why you're doing this. So we've got the objective. We now have the resolve, why we're doing this. The second part of this process, the next part of the process is, look, what's stopping you, right? Right now, if we keep doing what you're doing, you keep hitting your head up against a brick wall and your head's going to get sore, right? Call the doctor and say to the doc, if I keep moving, whenever I raise my arm like this, it hurts. And the doc says, well, stop raising your arm, right? Sure. It won't hurt, right? So now we've got to say, this is what's going on, but what you're asking for, this objective, is right now a new experience. It's over and above what you're doing right now. So we need to devise a plan. We need to work together on a plan to bridge the gap from where you are here to this thing that you say that you ultimately want and why you want it. So if we can work on a plan together, and then we can figure out how we work together, is that okay with you? And they're going to go, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, right? You're going to help me. We're going to be part of this plan. Now we've got the whole thing. We're getting there. Well, yeah, makes sense, right? Let's work together, right? So the next step, the last step is, great. So now we've got the plan. Now we've got the objective. We just have to ask one question. Hey, you can take all this, go away, do it all yourself, not use the years of experience of our team and our people to eliminate and get there faster. You can do it yourself, or would you like us to help you? Or my favorite question is an old Sandler School thing is, where do you think you should go to from here? Like, you got the objective, you got the why you need to do this. You've got the bottleneck. We've eliminated the bottleneck with our plan. This is how we're going to get there. And then, so what do you think we should do? Should we put this plan into place? Hell yeah, let's go, right? And If we can make this affordable and we make this actually pay for itself, that would be cool, yeah? Right? That's what we're here for, right? So what do you think we should do? Do you think we should do this, or do you think we should just waste 3 hours of our lives pontificating on what we want to do, right? So let's do this, right? That's it. That is the simplicity. Most people get sales wrong. In that process, what you're doing is you're actually helping people. You're not messing with people and saying, buy my thing. My thing's the greatest thing. Our thing's better. Do this now. We're really cheap, right? Where all the other buying motivators that actually don't really present a value proposition are eliminated by this process. Because now we've got this time and this context, you can actually charge more. You've already positioned value in what you're charging for your time, right? So you can say, well, this is a project. If the project outcome is like, $1 million, well, Jesus, our investment to get that million will be 100 grand, 120 grand. Fair enough for you? 10 to 1 return, good deal? Yeah, great.
Absolutely.
I'll make it easy for you. So you let me make it easy for you on the interwebs here. I'll give you a document on PandaDoc. I'll move the computer around. You sign with your mouse, right, for the agreement. And then with the other link, you're going to do the electronic payment with the Apple Pay straight away, and we can get started on this thing right now. What do you think? And they're going to go, yeah, it makes sense to me. Let's do this, right? Let's rock and roll, right?
And to get you out of that, so far away from that commodity of that thing that you do. Well, no, now you're a full solution for them.
I'm still going to say, if I'm a Facebook ad agency, that's exactly the way I sell Facebook. If I'm an AdWords person, that's the way I sell AdWords. If I was a consultant, that's the way I would sell my consulting services. If I was a plumber, that's the way I would sell my plumbing business. What I would do, you've got a problem, you need that fixed, right? I'm here on the spot to get this thing fixed. So you can call 3 other plumbers, but the longer you wait to get this done, by the time these other guys get here and answer the phone 2 or 3 days later from your inquiry, I'm here now. Do you want to get it done now? Right? So let me walk you through. This is our plan. We need to fix this. It's going to cost you this. Here are the parts of the components. It's going to give us this amount of labor and hours. At the end of that, you're going to be home and hose. You've got the hot water on. You've got the drinking water happening. You can go and have a bath. Should we do this now, or would you like to wait 3 or 4 days for 4 or 5 other plumbers for somebody that might be $1 cheaper than me to get this down? Or, look, I got the tools in the van, I'm ready to go. What do you want to do? Right? Yeah. And the person's going to go, oh, yeah, no, look, you're here. Let's get this done, right? You show up. If you're the person that shows up, you got the sale, right? That same process that I've just shared from a consultative process, you can sell plumbing services. You can sell a kitchen. You can sell a computer. You can sell anything with that same sales process. Hey, why do you want to do this? Why do you need to do it? Why do you like the idea of buying one of these things? I want it because I want the new iPhone. I want the camera facility. I want the camera feature. I want the G5, right? That's what I want. I want fast. I want speedy. I want to fry my brain, right? Quicker. I want to connect into the universe, right? Why do you want? Okay, great. So let me help you get one of these things, right? You can go on the AT&T plan, or you can buy it outright up front, and you've got control. What do you want to do? I want to go on the AT&T plan. It's cheaper. Great. Let me sign you up on that. Let's get you going, right? It's the same process. How can I help you get what you want? It's no different. Yeah. So yeah.
And that's phenomenal. And I want to touch on this, just phenomenal content, and I appreciate you being here and sharing this, because it's much like what Jonathan and I experienced from the first time we ever sat across from you and was able to learn from you. You've delivered that value as well here so much, and really appreciate that. Something I want to, like, a slight veering. I know something you said earlier was kind of at the beginning of all that, of however they got there, whether it was a blog post or a video they saw, or however they get to you. I know on one hand, it's sort of like they all work, right? In some way or another.
Yeah.
I'd love to know, because I've watched your content, I've watched how you get people there. And even, you've got agency on one side, you've got coaching, consulting as another bucket. How do those intersect, and what has been what's worked for you so much to have those conversations and really seed everything that you just laid out for a sales conversation that seeds that when they show up?
So, I want to answer the first question. How do we manage multiple opportunities that we run in the world. You can't do it on your own. You need a team, right? Can't do it without a team. So if you want to build a business, a real business, you're going to have to hire people. You're going to have to scale people. And I don't have a huge input into the big agency business. In fact, I'm out, right? I removed myself from the big agency business, which is the ultimate goal, right? You want to remove yourself from the day-to-day, from the runnings and that sort of stuff. So that's about leadership. That's about building a team and scaling a business. And so for me, I know that the only way to scale is through people. You're not going to scale on your own. There's very few people I know that are one-man bands that are incredibly wealthy, and they've been able to sustain that wealth on their own. They just can't do it. It's impossible, right? You need people. So to speak to your question, there's mindsets. So first of all, you say, you want to focus on the important things, but there is a mindset shift in how you want to be in your business. So the first mindset is a freelancer mindset. The first mindset is I want to get revenue. And for most people, that first mindset is like, I want to get to 10 grand, right? 10 grand a month, 120 grand a year. I'm in the top 5%, 10% earners if I'm earning 120 grand a year. Well, to earn 120 grand a year if you're in the state of California, you need to actually make $240,000 a year, because half of that money is going to go to the state, right? So it's not 10 grand a month, it's 20 grand a month, right? So that's a milestone. That milestone is more a mindset. Making 10 grand a month is not a hard thing to do. That's a mindset thing, right? So for me, what business am I in? What am I building this business towards? What's the vision of my business? What I want it to be? If I want to generate income as a freelancer, I want to get to that 10K. I've just got to know that that's 3 or 4 clients at 2 grand a month. That's my 10K. I'm making 120 grand a year, pay my taxes. I'm going to keep 60, lo and behold, 6 grand a month. And that's my life, right? If I want to, from 100K to $1 million business, only 3% people, Jason, ever make it to $1 million. Only 3%, not a lot. 3% make it to $1 million. The difference between a $100,000 business, 6 figures, to a 7-figure bigger is a decision. That's all it is. You're making a decision because you want to build $1 million business, right? And then it becomes all about sales and marketing. So to get to your first $1 million, you've got to sell. You've got to market and sell to get to that revenue. 84K per month in recurring revenue, or $84,000 in cash coming in every month, is all about marketing, sales and marketing. Get your sales and marketing right. Now you hit $1 million, by that stage you're employing a few people. You're going to employ an executive assistant or operations or customer service. You're going to have 5 to 7 people working with you at $1 million business or more, right? So at that time, now you have to shift your thinking. Now you become a leader, right? You're now leading a team, and you need to lead leaders, because for you to get out of this business, you have to build a team of leaders. You have to build you, right? You've got to get out, right? Because you want to work on the business, not in the business. You want to be part of that process. So you have to become a leader. The mindset is to become a leader. My goal is to become that leader as quickly as possible. That was my whole thing. In any business I build, I want to become that leader as quickly as possible. Because once I reach that point, then I can scale. And hiring scales a business. When you hire people, you grow. Every hire you bring on, you're going to grow, right? And what you want to be doing is you want to be hiring for growth, not hiring at growth. Because if you're hiring at growth, you're hiring at pressure, you're going to make the wrong decisions. But if you're hiring for growth, you're going to grow, right? You're hiring to project. So to answer your question, how do you do this? I've always been very curious in business. I've been a student of business. That's why I do what I do. Is I love business. I love how business works. I love all the different business models. I've worked, I had the good fortune in my life to build some really significant businesses where I've had exposure to thousands of businesses. I've literally done in a 9-year period, I did more than 6,000 one-on-ones with CEOs from companies all over the world over that 9-year period. One-on-ones when I'm talking about asking you exact same 56 questions, what they do, how they do what they do, why it works, why it doesn't work. And I got to learn a lot about a lot of the models and a lot of the structures. And this also gives you an insight into types of businesses you want to buy and you want to grow, right? The agency business I love because it's highly profitable. A good agency business should be generating at least 70% GP. Your gross on that, or what you keep on that, is going to be around the 50% mark. There's very few businesses on the planet, the consulting business, that make 50% gross profit. There's very few businesses that make a 25 to 30% net. And I've been fortunate enough in these businesses to make up to 44% net profit. So imagine $1 million worth of revenue and 44% you get to keep after tax. This is why this business is very appealing, right? But this business is also dangerous, lots of hard work, You got to work, right? You got to understand what you're delivering, how you deliver. You got to master what you do. You can't be doing everything for everybody. In our world, technology changes. I have a friend of mine, Tom Breeze. He just does YouTube ads and nothing else. Runs a multi-million dollar agency and just does YouTube ads and nothing else. No AdWords, no Google ads, no SEO, just YouTube ads. There's another guy, Graham McInnes, who runs a SEO company. He generates about $8 million worth of revenue a year doing SEO just for personal injury attorneys. Now, just SEO, no AdWords, no websites, no nothing else, just SEO. He's the preeminent SEO expert on personal injury, right? I know Mike Rhodes, a guy I was fortunate enough to hang out with the other day. He's the AdWords guy, right? He only does AdWords. That's all he does. Multi-million dollar agency, just AdWords. Works for the biggest companies in the world. Just AdWords, right? No, master what you do, get really good at what you do and get really good at delivering the result. So for me, I know I'm kind of giving you a broad, convoluted answer to that question, but for me, number one, I'm interested in business. Number two, I'm interested in marketing. I love marketing because marketing is human behavior and communication. It's common sense. If I provide a certain message that is relevant to you and that relevancy is favorable, then you're going to make a favorable decision. I've got to find the balance of that message, that communication that fits with you, that resonates with you, that I speak to your heart, that I speak to your soul and your mind, that say, hey, you get me. I like this product. I like this service. I love marketing. That's what marketing does. Marketing is human behavior in action, right? And so I understand. So this is why I got caught up in the whole marketing world. So to answer your question, super curious about how businesses work, super excited about how marketing works because I know that's leverage. And I love people growing because 80% of this business thing is all about mindset. It's got nothing to do, the numbers work. When you know the numbers and you play the numbers and you do the fundamental stuff, all of that works. The part that is the interesting journey in life is the mindset. I say that if you're an entrepreneur and you're investing in business, this is the most expensive personal development program you're ever going to buy. Is your own business. That's the most expensive personal. It's going to cost you, sometimes it's going to cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's going to cost you millions of dollars. But not only that, it's going to cost you in emotions, in elation, experience, in all those sorts of things. It is the best investment in a personal development program you'll ever make. Most expensive, let me tell you, worthwhile.
Well, yeah,
because you learn about yourself. So
and it's one of those.
Question.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's also one of those that's you're gonna get the lesson if you go through this. You're gonna get that lesson. You're gonna develop one way or the other. So you better embrace that in the beginning, and you'll be way better off.
Exactly.
I believe. Yeah, I learned a long time ago through my, mentors, Mastermind. When I was a 17-year-old kid, there was a guy called James Grant. He handed a book over to me, and to this day, I actually have that book here in my library. To this day, I've read this book probably about 18, 19 times in my life, right? But he gave this to me when I was 17-year-old, about 5 years ago when I was 17. He gave me this book, and you caught that, Jonathan. Gave me this book, but he actually gave me a series of books. But this was the first one he handed over to me. The first one he handed to me was a book by Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Right, that book for a 17-year-old, that's a personal development book. Not really common for a 17-year-old. Me, I was a footballer. I was into sports. I was literally going pro. What do I want to know about freaking winning friends and influencing people, right? But he gave me this book. He said, John, you got to read this book. And I in high school and stuff like that, I only read books because you had to read them to get grades, right? I didn't read books because I enjoyed the fact that I wanted to read a book. And if I was going to read a book, I certainly wasn't going to pick up a personal development book. But I was given this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. That book in and of itself changed my life. It made me want to become a business owner, right? At 17, and let me tell you, a year later, I ran my own business. I was in college and owned a restaurant, right? I bought that's a whole other story. Bought a restaurant on a credit card, crazy thing to do. But I realized, and the next book he gave me was The Magic of Thinking Big by Maxwell Maltz, right? The next book was The Magic of Thinking Big. These are old school, right? By the way, Dale Carnegie's, he's been gone a long time. He still runs training programs today. He's got a massive organization in training, but there's a current book. It's How to Win Friends and Influence People in a Digital Age. So it's been modernized, right? So Magic of Thinking Big from Maxwell Maltz. Then Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, then Psycho Cybernetics by whoever that is, Then I read this thing called Super Learning, and this was by some Bulgarian doctors who were doing accelerated learning techniques, so how they can actually accelerate learning, and they were looking at accelerating performance of athletes. That book, it was called Super Learning. I don't know who the authors are because their names are really alphabet, like they were Romanians or Bulgarians. They were scientists, but it's not a very long book. I don't know if it's still in print, but that book opened my eyes to possibilities, what we were humanly capable of, right? And so that's one thing. And what I started doing is I started to reach out to those mentors. I started to reach out to my mentors, guys like Zig Ziglar, Charlie Tremendous Jones, who's not with us anymore, Chet Holmes, Jay Abraham. I worked with Jay Abraham. He was my mentor. I spent freaking tons of money with that dude. The Frank Kearns, the Dan Kennedys. Recently got the good fortune to work with Dan Kennedy last year.
Wow.
This idea of paying to play, right? Paying to play. You got to pay to play, right? There's an investment in your life. And so to me, mentors have been a big part of my success. And seeking those things, seeking those people out and learning from those people and applying what you know. And this is the one thing those who will listen to this, there's a guy called MJ DeMarco coined this phrase beautifully. He called it action faking. We had this word, action faking, right? And what action faking is you take on all this personal development stuff, all this growth stuff, you learn a whole bunch, you learn business stuff, you buy courses and programs and trainings, you do all this sort of stuff, and you come to a point in your life where you look back and you go, my life hasn't changed. I'm not any better off. I'm not any richer. I'm not any healthier. I'm not any wealthier. I don't have better relationships. I don't have anything. But I've learned all this stuff along the way, right? What you've done is learn. You've actually not learned, you've consumed. You've consumed, and now what you've done is by the sheer nature of consumption, you think that was actually doing something. So you get there, down the track, you look back and go, holy crap, I'm not any better off. Right? What's going on? And the reason why is you're action faking. What you want to be doing is that word behind you, action taking, right? So the fastest way to get feedback is to take the action. Even not taking action is an action. If you are not actioning something, you're going to get feedback. That feedback of not taking action along the way with what you learn and apply and implement, that you've made a decision, you've taken action. Your feedback is you're no better off. That's the feedback. That's the result, right?
Yeah.
So the opposite result is take action on what you learn. Every time I learn something, every time I see something, every question that gets asked for me, Jason, in these environments, I'm picking something up. Oh, that's a really good question. I think I need to apply that somewhere, right? Or, oh, that's something I've learned today. I want to teach that as quickly as possible so I can ingrain that learning and take action on the learning. I had a friend of mine, Dan Wardrop, who beautifully coins it. He says, dude, we're in business. You've got to literally jump out of the plane without a parachute, and you want to build that parachute on the way down, right? The only way you're going to learn is to jump, right? The only way you're going to experience the exhilaration is to jump. A friend of mine, Andrew Warner, who runs the famous podcast Mixergy, I remember in a conversation, we were sitting down having a conversation one day, and he's a really complex guy. Like, he's super, super smart, very, very complex, an amazing guy, very smart guy. And I was asking this question. I said, dude, you've a lot of advice, a lot of thing. And I was asking the Jack Palance question, the Billy Crystal, Jack Palance City Slickers, where Billy Crystal looks at Jack Palance, the one thing, right? He's got his arm halfway up a cow, right? Saying, well, what is that one? Right? What is that one thing? So he's asking, what's the one thing? So I had one of these things that I tend to do when I meet my people and friends and people who've done some amazing things or who are very smart. I want to ask them the Jack Palance one thing question, right? And this answer was one that resonated with me, and it still stays with me today. And I said, look, dude, if you were saying anything to anybody about getting going, getting into business, making things happen in life, if you were going to go down that path, what is that one thing that you would tell people? And he looked at me and he thought about it for a moment because, it's one thing, right? What would you do? And he looked at me, he thought about it for a moment, and he said, most people like me in a time, we sat in the bleachers. We sat in the bleachers and we watched the game. And he says, what you got to do is you got to climb down. And sometimes those bleachers are way, way up. There's a long climb down, right? Wherever your mindset is, where your head is, a long way down to the playing field, to the fence. And you got to hop over that fence. You got to go and pick up a bat and you got to start swinging. You got to play the game, right? You got to be, the only way you're going to experience what it's like to hit a home run is to swing. And you might get lucky on the first hit, or you might get lucky on the 1,000th hit, but you are going to hit a home run. At one point, you're going to hit it, right? And the only way you're going to hit it is to play the game. And he said, from that moment, I wanted to play. And in that moment, I sat there and thought, how am I playing the game? Where am I sitting in the bleachers, right? Where am I the observer and not the doer, the guy that's having the experience, the exhilaration of swinging, missing, swinging, hitting? Golf is like that. Everybody says golf is an infuriating game, but it's a game of, it's also a game of reflection of life, right? You go through every up and down cycle if you ever pick up a golf club, right? But all you need is that one time where you have the effortless swing and it connects with the ball in the sweet spot, and that ball just, you didn't do any effort, but that ball just sails. It goes into the distance, right? And it's straight, and it's long, and you look at yourself. You've had 500 other shots that have been terrible. They didn't go anywhere, right? They're all over the course. But you have this one shot, and everybody know, whoever picks up a golf club knows what I'm talking about. That shot that you experience, that sweet spot, right? It's that swoosh. And you go and you see this is I'm playing golf next week. I'm coming back, right? I'm in. I'm hooked. I'm addicted, right? I want that feeling, that moment. The only way you're going to get that feeling is to hop on the field, play the game, swing at the balls, take some hits, right? Because otherwise, you're going to be the spectator. And the spectators are the cardigan wearers. They're the factory workers. They're the people who are very essential and very important in life, by the way, because us entrepreneurs, we need the factory workers. We need the cardigan wearers. We need those people who are sitting on the bleachers. They are very important to the wheels and the cogs of what we need. But for us, if you're an entrepreneur, swing the bat, take the shots, right? Babe Ruth swung at 300,000 balls. He only scored 670 odd runs out of 300,000 balls, right? 300,000, and he's the great. He was one of the greats, right? He's not the greatest, but he's one of the greats. And he only he only connected 674 times in his career, in his 17-year career, right? 300,000 times at bat, and he only hit 624 balls, 74. That's it, right? But he became the most wealthiest and the most incredibly remembered and loved baseball player on the planet, right? So, absolutely, my recommendation: one thing. Get out and play on the field. Go and swing the ball, swing the bat. Throw the ball. I love that so much. Catch the ball, hit the ball, play the game.
Because I found myself a few years back with that wake up, right? Because for those of us who love business and love the idea, love marketing, love all this stuff, well, that love can turn into the way I love football. I love to watch, right? I love to root for the team and all that stuff. And it becomes, I looked up years ago and said oh, I'm treating this like a hobby from someone who's interested in business and is a fan of business. And to your point, John, it was time to get on the field, and that was a big wake up call. I love that perspective that you brought there. And I gotta tell you, I could talk to you, John Logar, 23 hours a day. I'd have to sleep at least an hour, but 23 hours a day. I love this.
Well, I've got 100 hours of material. If you want to ever want to get me back, man, I'm happy to share whatever you want.
I appreciate that. I would love to. And something we like to do here, Jonathan, if you want to jump into, we got a couple of rapid fire questions we like to do just at the end, little quick ones, and then I want to find out. I want to make sure you share, where people can find you and all that good stuff.
Cool. Yes, John, you are the king of networking. So we want to understand your favorite approach to networking. What is that?
Find the biggest cat in the room and go and say hi to him, and then just stand next to him. And then they can't not introduce you to everybody else. Best thing you do in marketing is connect with the person who's hosting the function, hosting the event, hosting the conference, hosting the exhibition, the trade show. Meet up with them, say, hey, thank you. I just want to say you're doing an amazing job. This is incredible. I just want to introduce myself, meet with you, connect with you. My name is great. They go, hey, you're a great guy. You're thanking me for my job, right? You're acknowledging me, you're stroking the ego in a nice way. You want to connect with that person, and say, hey, and then you'll get invited to all the parties. You'll get invited to all the tables. And sometimes you'll end up sitting at the table with the president of the association or the group or the person who organized the thing. And at that table, you're sitting amongst all the other very important people, the VIPs, and all of a sudden, by association, you become a VIP. So the next time I meet that person, all I need to do is stand next to them And the only people they talk to are important people. They're just going to introduce me to all the people. Hey, meet John, my friend here. This is Peter. This is Tom. This is da-da-da-da. And before you know it, you're meeting all the cool people. So my first thing in networking, go and meet the head honcho. I like to call them before I get there to say, I'm going to meet you. I'm just letting you know I'm coming for you, right? I'm going to say hi to you. So I want to connect with them before I get there, just introduce myself. And then you meet the guy. Once you meet the guy, you're going to meet all the other guys, right? Or what you do is, and this is the other strategy, a bit sneaky, is you meet the guy who supports the guy, right? Or the girl who supports the guy. You meet the second person, right? So the one that, because everybody wants to meet the head honcho, right? What you want to do is befriend the head honcho's trusted advisory, right? The person they trust. That person's going to open the door to the head honcho. So if I can't get to the head honcho, I'm meeting the one below, and that person's going to open up the networks because they all know the influencers and they all know the people as well. So always go to the top. That's in networking. Find who's hosting. Thank them for hosting, acknowledging what a great job they did, the fact that you enjoyed the moment of being there, you really appreciate what they're creating here. If you do that, and if you connect at that level, make sure you get a business card. What I like to do, here's another sneaky trick, right? Back in the old days, there were 3 wise men that came to the baby Jesus when he was born, right? Those 3 wise men came bearing gifts to Jesus. The 3 kings, right? Now, here's the thing. In history, when kings and leaders and courtesans, or however you want to describe them, whenever you came to meet them, when an ambassador goes to another ambassador in the world, what do? They bring a gift, right? When you go to meet the king, right, you ingratiate the king with the gift, right? So one thing I've realized is become a gift giver. But when I say become a gift giver, not a gift giver that is contrived, a gift giver with sincerity, right? You actually care, you like the person, you acknowledge something they do or something they contribute, or even in a connection. A gift doesn't have to be a present. It could be a simple thank you card. Hey, it was great to meet you. I really appreciate that. Look forward to connecting somewhere else. Or, hey, I'm reading this book at the moment. I love this book. I've been handing out to a whole bunch of people. I thought I'd give you a copy. I just want to say thank you. So when you meet the head honcho or the big honcho or the leader, if you acknowledge them, if you know some of their interests, right? So I knew a guy I met at a trade show. He loved McLarens. He loved McLarens. So what I do, I hopped on Amazon and I looked for the best book on McLarens, right? Now, whether this guy had the McLaren F1 or didn't have the McLaren F1, it didn't matter. And I just sent him the book. I said, dude, I know you love these cars. I saw this book, thought you should have it. I just want to say thank you for the time we've had together. Now, next time, I've been invited to some pretty awesome places in the world because I sent a $75 book to somebody to say, hey, thanks for meeting me, right? Because they want to get to know you, right? They simple thing, right? Become a sincere acknowledger of people's time and the gift that they give to you, which is their time, which is their experience. So that's the second thing. So hopefully that answers your question.
I love it.
Next question.
One right off the top of my head. Lots of people, like you said, are out of work. You've got people that will not go back into the workforce because of age or whatever that is. They're probably in the perfect space to become a consultant. Where do they start?
Take your skill. If you've got skills and knowledge of your industry and marketplace and you know how to fix those problems, go and offer your time to companies right now who need those problems fixed, right? If you see problems in your experience, then do that. Because if you have to learn new things, then it's going to take time to master those results. So if you've been working in an engineering firm and they can you, but you know that this engineering firm you work for has some significant problems and you know how to solve that problem, you can go to other engineering firms that are open and say, listen, this is a significant problem most engineering firms face. Would you like me to come and help you and solve that problem? Now you're a consultant. Right, that's the easiest way to start consulting is solve people's problems. So go with your experience first. If you're going to buy something new, you're going to have to learn something new. If you're going to buy a business, make sure you know that you can learn that business fast, right? So you make sure you've got a system, processes, because your learning curve is going to be expensive. But if you've got experience and skill and knowledge in your own working experience, then how does what you do? So even taking that a step further, right? Let's say you worked as an executive assistant and you were brilliant at building systems and processes and automating, doing all that sort of stuff for your company that you worked for. That's a skill that is highly valued right now. So you can say, hey, I was an executive assistant for this Fortune 500 company for the last 20 years, and I was part of the growth of that company. I know exactly the systems and processes I needed to move forward. I'm more than happy to share with you how that works, right? So you can take your skill of how you had an impact on your company as an employee, and you can share that skill. How do you think 3M found out with a Post-it note? It was an internal employee that came up with the idea of the glue wouldn't stick to the back of the paper, and it was a light glue, and all of a sudden, I can't remember her name, but she invented the Post-it note, and she became a gazillionaire, right, through 3M as an employee. She invented the idea. She's getting royalties, or her family's getting royalties even today. So sometimes you understand, first place to start, what do you know? Who can you help, right? That's consulting. That's time for money, right? If you have physical skills, like you like getting your hands dirty and you do that sort of stuff, you can do those sorts of things, right? There's plenty of ways to start a business. Right, there's plenty of ways to start a business, but I would start. What do you do? Who would value what you do, and offer it to them, and then start learning how to get paid for that. And then maybe look at who else is offering this as well, so that you can validate your idea. That's the other thing. You want to validate your idea with money straight away, right? So first thing, validate your idea, and then you're going to get. You'll see people are making money with this. I can do this too. How are they doing it? What are they doing? What are they selling? Who are they selling to? This is going to give you indicators as to who's buying, right? How much are they selling for? So you do that little bit of homework up front. You now know, hey, I would do it like I've got a different way of doing it. I believe this is a better way, or I can innovate on that, or improve on that, or I can have a way that perhaps I can make it affordable or easy. Now you're in business, right? So you got validation. What do you do? Go and try something. Like for me, go and learn copywriting, learn affiliate marketing. All the best business people I know are great copywriters. The marketing guys, they're all great copywriters. I had to learn copy the old way. If you want to learn how to write copy, GaryHolbert.com. Take everything off that website for free. It'll show you how to be a great copywriter, right? Follow the steps. In 30 days, you can write some copy. That's a skill. Being able to sell in print or sell in verbiage or words is a highly regarded skill. So for me, first start with your experience. Then what are you interested in? Then have a look at who's doing, what they're doing, and then go, great, I want to get into this business. And away you go. Yeah. So, yep. I'll take one more question because I'm 2 minutes away from doing my own webinar live training.
That's what we had for you. That's amazing value. The last little thing would be how folks can reach out to you.
Consultingunleashed.com. I've got a really cool, it's all free, there's lots of resources there, but if you jump on that website, there's a 5-step process. I shot this training program crossing the Brooklyn Bridge in Manhattan. Literally in 5 steps, you can literally walk yourself into client opportunities. It is free. Just go to consultingunleashed.com and you can just download it there. That's awesome.
Perfect. John, it's been phenomenal. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, guys. Thanks, Jonathan. Thank you, Jason. It's always good to see your face, my friend. Jonathan,
Likewise.
Good to reacquaint. Good to see you. So long, my friend. But appreciate you having me on. If I can do anything, let me know. And more than happy to hop back on here if you want to have a chit chat.
Thank you. I'm sure we will.
Thanks for listening. You've learned what's working on the front lines of business. Now it's time to get to work. Apply to the Strategy and Action group on Facebook to learn more and for a chance to connect with the guests on this show. Join us next time for Strategy and Action.